Hey there and welcome to another edition of Tour Confidential. I'm Ryan Asselta and happy to be joined this week by Golf.com's Dylan Dethier and Sean Zock. And guys, the captain's picks for the President's Cup are in. We know Phil Mickelson will be at a 23rd straight match play event representing the United States, but there is a lot to talk about outside of Phil when it comes to the President's Cup, mainly when it comes to the non-competitive nature, I guess, of these matches, guys. The U.S. has won 9 of the 11 matches over its history. Sean, can you pinpoint why it hasn't been so competitive over the years?
I think it just comes down to depth, because you look at their team and you recognize the international squad, maybe 1 through 8, and then all of a sudden 9, 10, 11, 12, you're like, can these guys play clutch golf? And you look at the American squad, and they're just picking from a wealth and when it comes to the captain's picks. So I think it comes down to depth. When you go 1 through 12 are really strong players, and then the international team is more like 1 through 8. I mean, they're going to lean on Emiliano Grillo and Anirban Lahiri, guys that we haven't really heard much from this year. So the fact that you have to lean on guys that haven't played a lot of good golf, I mean, that kind of makes it shaky for your team.
Dylan, how much of a buzzkill has it been with the U.S. winning that much? They're heavy, heavy favorites going into this year at Liberty National. Can you pinpoint why, and is there a fix for this problem, you think?
Sure, and I think if you look at the numbers, I mean, it's not like the U.S. is blowing them out every year. So, you know, usually the margins of victory have been 3, 4, 5 points. But I think there's something to be said for just how dispersed the nationalities and backgrounds of the international team are. It's not like playing Team Europe in the Ryder Cup, where they really seem to band together. The President's Cup is much more the U.S. and then everyone else. So I'm not sure there's that same commonality that Team Europe usually finds in the Ryder Cup.
We saw Jason Day say that out here at the Northern Trust. He was like, I hope on Sunday night, maybe me and a couple guys that are going to be on the team, we can get a beer, we can meet up, have a good time, so we can kind of bond a little bit, get a little team unity, because you know the American squad, not only do they have the Ryder Cup, but they've got a number of other events. They're really good friends. The international team just isn't as tight. They're not as close. Yeah. And it's hard to make that work when you meet each other on Monday.
Yeah, and the U.S. has talked about that camaraderie, how big it was at Hazeltine. I asked a veteran European Ryder Cupper recently, what was the big difference? Why hasn't the President's Cup been competitive? And it's the same thing you're saying, John. He looks down the list and says, at the top, they're pretty even when you come to Europeans versus U.S., internationals versus U.S. But those bottom 4, there seems to be a big drop-off. And when you got Europeans like Thomas Pieters really coming to play, and he's towards the bottom of that roster, I don't see the Thomas Pieters in this list of internationals. Could be. You're looking at guys like Brandon Grace, Johnny Vegas, Adam Hadwin. Not the cachet as some of the Europeans, so that seems to be a problem. Guys, should we expect this to be more competitive, Sean? Heavy favorites, the U.S. They're on home soil. They've won 9 out of 11. You know, the New York, New Jersey crowd is going to be pretty loud behind them, especially with Phil walking around Liberty National. But should we be careful of overlooking the international team?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, this American team is filled with thoroughbreds. Just about everyone on the team has won this year. It's really hard to pick and make a case against that team winning, but I think it will be closer. You just look from the first 6 or 7 guys, you've got a bunch of dudes on the international team that have all contended or won a major. They've all been there and played really clutch golf. I mean, the 8th guy, Siwoo Kim, he won the Players this year. We can't forget that these guys have shown up at big events in the past. I don't know if this really, in their mind, is considered a big event, but they're going to be hyped for it, and the American fans will certainly let them hear about it on the first tee.
Dylan, can the internationals hang a couple weeks from now here in New Jersey, New York area?
This isn't going to be the year, I don't think, for the internationals. You look at the U.S. team. I mean, these guys are neighbors. They're all buddies in Florida. They live down the street. They play probably more team golf than we even realize just on the day-to-day. I like the squad this year for the U.S. team.
Quickly, looking at the rosters, the match you're looking forward to seeing the most right now, Dylan?
I'd love to see Jason Day go up against Justin Thomas. Obviously, no one's been hotter this year than JT, and I think Day is looking to regain a little form and get a little mojo. So I'd love to see that matchup.
What about you, Sean?
Well, the last time we had the President's Cup, Adam Scott played Ricky Fowler and absolutely housed him in their singles match on Sunday. I kind of want to see them paired together again. 2 amazing ball strikers, 2 guys that probably should have won more golf than they have, more golf tournaments. So maybe if those guys get paired up on Sunday, we can see Ricky get a little payback.
All right, I'm looking forward to seeing maybe Jordan Spieth versus Hideki Matsuyama for a few reasons. Could be a birdie barrage, but also I love more golf, and you know that match will probably take about 6 hours at the pace that Jordan goes and the stop and go that Hideki does. So yeah, put me on the couch for 6 hours, watch that match. I'm all good. Lot to look forward to. 2 weeks from now is the President's Cup at Liberty National. Sean, Dylan, thanks for being with us, and thanks for joining us on this edition of Tour Confidential. We'll see you again next week right here on Golf.com.